The so-called dishwashing study found kids developed fewer allergies if their dishes were hand washed instead of sanitized in a dishwasher. Another study confirmed babies who were fed peanuts were less likely to develop a peanut allergy. My guest, Dr. Kevin Say, a board-certified allergist at Kaiser Permanente San Diego, joins us with the details. And Dr. Say, the children in this peanut study, let's start with them. They were said to be high risk. How did early exposure to peanuts of this high-risk group result in having them less allergies or no allergies?
There's a phenomenon that we have known for a while called oral tolerance, and the idea is that consumption of a food or anything that you put in your mouth is more likely for your body to ignore that, thinking that whatever you put in your mouth is probably good for you, hopefully, and your body will immunologically ignore that. Sensitization can sometimes happen through the skin, and so if the first exposure of a particular food is in another way, like through the skin, there's a chance that your body will then become sensitized to it. So if there's two different ways to introduce a food, the thought is that you want to introduce the food orally at an early age when the immune system is still malleable and teachable, that it will learn to ignore that food as opposed to getting exposed to it in some other way where you may sensitize yourself.
Sure. Now, we know peanut allergies can be so very deadly. What should parents do right now after seeing this if they think their child has a peanut sensitivity or a peanut allergy?
The best thing a parent can do is to have their child tested with a board-certified allergist at their local healthcare system. During testing, we can ascertain the positivity of whether somebody is allergic or not. And the new study now is actually enabling us to treat people who are kind of at risk for developing peanut allergy in the future and giving them a chance to not be peanut allergic through early intervention.
Sure. I just want to make sure that the lesson is if you think your child has a peanut allergy, the answer is not to give them, try to sensitize them yourself.
Exactly.
Okay.
So you want to be careful with that.
Yeah, I understand the risk there. The Dishwasher Study, actually moving on to that, confirmed what a lot of parents have suspected for a very long time, and possibly the medical field as well. Describe what the Dishwasher Study was.
The Dishwasher Study was an observational study where the researchers actually handed out questionnaires to parents of kids who had allergies and asked them different habits that they have at home. And one of the questions that they asked about was whether they wash their dishes by hand or wash their dishes by machine. And it turns out that the hand-washed dishes seem to be protective from an allergic standpoint. We want to be careful between drawing any major conclusions from an observational study. There's biases that get instilled whenever a survey is pointed out or handed out. And so, but there have been other studies that suggested that exposure to pathogens and microbes early on in life may actually be beneficial to protecting against allergy. So this is one in a long line of studies that has pointed in the same direction. So we think there's probably some truth there, but I wouldn't necessarily go out and change any major habits with the way that you're doing things now.
It's called the Hygiene Hypothesis, right? And there's more studies being done on that as far as exposure to bacteria, maybe increasing the immune system.
The new wave of studies in the Hygiene Hypothesis actually centers around the probiotic thing that people have been really interested in recently. There have been some studies, especially in mice actually, that have shown that the diversity of the bacteria in your gut, and these are the good bacteria you're supposed to have, the probiotics, may actually be something that really can push your body in one direction or the other in terms of allergies or not.
So it's not actually taking on maybe bad bacteria that we already know. I see.
Right.
Let's talk about this, getting back to this tactic, exposure to tactile types of allergens for adults or children. Does exposure work for, let's say, if you already have allergies to mold, dust mites, pets?
The answer is yes. Allergy immunotherapy or allergy shots have been ongoing actually for at least 100 years, even before there were any institutional review boards or safety monitoring boards. Allergists were actually doing this in the back office, and they were basically giving injections, small amounts, safe amounts of allergen that you're allergic to, injected. And over time, if you come to your allergist on a weekly basis, we can actually increase the amount of exposure on a weekly basis, trying to teach your immune system again to become tolerant or to ignore the allergen.
But again, not something to try at home.
No.
Go to a specialist. What kind of impact do you think these two studies will have, the peanut study on the children and also the dishwasher study, might have in treating allergies in the future?
It's a very exciting time in allergy. What we're finding out, and we've kind of suspected for a while, as you mentioned, that the environment probably has something to do with whether someone develops allergies or not. Genetics is still the major player, and so that's something that we can't change. But the things that we can change are probably behaviors and environmental exposures that we have. And so if we're able to find out more about how to teach the immune system, then we can effectively treat allergies better.
All right, Dr. Kevin Say, thank you so much for the update.
You're welcome.